book, amigos. It is Gray here, and the mic is back. Welcome back to another video. For those of you who do not know, I am an indie author whose pen name is GR Luna. I have recently released my debut novel, Without a Choice, and it is available for purchase on Amazon. Okay. With that being said, today's video is going to be... Sorry, I got distracted already. Today's video is going to be a sit-down video because I've had this video idea for quite some time already and I just haven't delivered. And the reason why I haven't delivered is because I did a little box thingy on Instagram and asked what people's assumptions about writers or authors were, and I had one response, and that was very sad, but it's okay because then I headed on over to good old Google and I did a quick little Google search and I just searched up assumptions about authors. And because I am an author, I'm going to say whether these assumptions are true or false for me specifically. So without a further ado, I also want to try and make this video a one take because I really like doing one takes, and I feel like knowing in my head that it's a one take, then I put this pressure on myself to just like boom, try not to mess up or just go over the hiccups, because if not, I'm going to try to edit this and make this perfect and all that stuff. The only thing I might edit is that I might put the assumption on the screen, whether it be here or down here, something, I don't know. But I think, ooh, I just burped. Gross. I think it's gonna work, and I think it's gonna be a great video, so I hope you stick along. This is assumptions about authors. Dun dun dun. Okay, the first assumption, I have them written down in my little handy dandy notebook. So the first is, I'm a weirdo, as you guys know, and I like to know what people's handwriting looks like. So I'm just gonna give you a little sneak peek into my handwriting, and that's what my handwriting looks like. It's not the best, but yeah, that was a little weird, but it's okay. First assumption that I wrote down is it pertains to knowledge, and that is readers assume that authors know what they are writing about. For me personally, this is false, I think. And the reason I say I think is because I don't always know what I'm writing about. I think I have a general idea, but I don't know the ins and outs, if you will. And that is because I am not a planner. I'm a pantster. I don't plan, I don't outline any of my novels. I usually sit down and start typing away. Like I have a general idea and that's about it. So with that comes not necessarily knowing. What happens in my case is that I personally try to get a manuscript done. So the first draft of a novel completed, which is literally the hardest part. For me, it's the hardest part. And then once I go and do my first round of revisions, then that's when I start to do research and really, really, really get to know what I am writing about. Just because I feel like when I try to stick to one idea and I'm strict about it, it doesn't necessarily pan out the way that I want it to. So I have to leave wiggle room for the twists and turns that my writing is gonna take. And I'm kind of a perfectionist. So after talking to my therapist, we both agreed that I have to do things purposely. So with that being said, what I mean by that is that instead of having a plan and trying to stick to the plan and being perfect about that plan and trying to deliver it as I kind of envision it, I have to allow myself to be okay with the twists and turns that come about. So I think I don't necessarily know what I'm writing about until I get to the first round of revisions. Then I know. what I'm writing about. So for this assumption, I think it's not true in my case. The next assumption that I found pertains to interest. Readers assume that authors have an interest in the subject they are writing. And this, I think it's true because there's some sort of interest that sparked the inspiration to write a novel. There was an interest of some sort. I'm going to use my debut novel as an example. My debut novel includes taboo topics, and taboo topics were my topic of interest that inspired this novel. I talk about mental health in here and things like that. And I think that although this can be true, it can also be half true because authors don't necessarily always know what they're writing about. And this ties back to the beginning, to the other assumption. I knew that I wanted to include mental health in my debut novel. However, I didn't necessarily know that I wanted to include romance in my novel. So, although I'm interested in both topics, I didn't necessarily think I was going to be writing the romance in Without a Choice, which I do. There is romance. There's a little bit of spice, if you know what I mean. So I do think it's true. I think we have an interest in what we're writing about. There's also topics that we end up writing about that we are not interested in. So I think that's also very common. And I think it falls into like what the story is about and the twists and turns that I was talking about earlier, because for somebody like me who doesn't plan a novel, it's easy to run into something and be like, you know what, maybe if I incorporate X, Y, and Z, even though I'm not necessarily a fan of X, Y, and Z, it can strengthen my character and drive my story a little bit better. So I'm going to try and incorporate it and see how it goes. If I like it, I keep it. If I don't like it, I take it out. So I think that's the answer to that. Yes, it's true. Authors have interest in the subject they are writing. Yes. The next assumption that I have is about response. And this was an interesting one because I'm not too sure. Readers assume that authors have certain expectations about how their audience/readers will respond to their work. This one is interesting because I have to look outside the box. If you are a well-established author and have a well-established audience, then I think this is true. I think those authors do have certain expectations on how their reader audience will respond. I cannot imagine Frida McFadden releasing a book and not know what her audience's response will be. And I think in my instance, however, this is not true because I've only have one novel, my debut novel, Without a Choice, and I had no expectations. I was terrified to release my debut novel, but I am very, very pleasant with the response that I have received from readers of Without a Choice. The people who have reached out to me telling me their response to Without a Choice is something that I just can't quite explain. It's a warm and fuzzy feeling in my heart. And it made the fear worth it, because without that fear, I don't think I would have ever published anything. And it's that fear that drove me, because even though I had a fear of what people might think or the way they might react to my novel, I also was curious and I wanted to know. So for a well-established author, I think this is true. For somebody like me who is an indie author and this was my debut novel, I don't think there is much of an expectation. I think we take what we get and we run with it and we make the best of it because it's amazing. Um, so moving on. Those were the first three I found. I also found an article that has 7 assumptions, and I'm going to address those right now. So the first assumption was writers are extremely awkward introverts who hate people. I think this is not true. In my situation, no, it's not true. I am an introvert. I think I'm a introverted extrovert, I think it's called. I like my me time and I can hang out with people. I like hanging out with people. However, I need to recharge my batteries every so often. I need to back away. I need my alone time. I need to cleanse, if you will, and then charge my batteries back up, and then I can go back into the world with people and socialize and do all that stuff. I am. What is the word? I don't know what the word is, but I am a good socializer when it's one on one. However, once it becomes a group, I am the one who is quiet and observing everybody else's interactions. So, there's that. Do I think writers can be extremely awkward introverts who hate people? Yes, of course. And I think that goes with everybody. I don't think that's just a thing for writers. I think that's everybody. I think even though I like people and I like socializing and I like doing all that thing, I also think that when my batteries are not charged, I don't really like people. I want to go into my own bubble and like cuddle up with myself type of thing. But no, I don't think this is true. I think it's just a person to person thing. I think there's very, very many authors who are social butterflies and love people and like have an extroverted life and things like that. So, yeah, there's that. Number 2, writing is so easy. Anyone can do it. This one, I think is, oh man, I think it can be both. I think it can be true or false. For me, it's false. Well, it's true. Writing is easy. I think if you have an idea and if you have the imagination for it, I think writing is easy. The hard part for me is sitting down and writing. Looking for the time of day to sit down. Like I've said before, I have a toddler, I have a fiance, and it is very, very, very hard for me to want to leave them and come and write. Because while I'm writing, I hear them laughing, I hear them playing. You guys see the window right here? Or right there? Sometimes they go and they play outside and I can hear them laughing and having a good time, and I want to go outside. I don't want to be stuck in here writing. So that's the hard part for me. Sitting down and writing. Is writing easy? Yes. Can anyone do it? No. So writing is so easy, anyone can do it. If I stick to just that sentence, I think this is false. I don't think anyone can do it. And obviously, like I just said, it comes with the technicalities. You need to have the determination, the motivation, the discipline to sit down and write. And it's not easy. It definitely is not easy. Writing itself, easy. Piece of cake. Once you get the momentum going, girl, ain't nobody stopping you. You are going to the moon. You are going to end up with one of these. But sitting down and writing it can be the challenge. Writers are messy is assumption number 3. No, I am not messy. I need to clear off my space so I can sit down and write. I need a clean space, my laptop, my keyboard if I'm using a keyboard, my notebook, my planner, sometimes my book, and a drink. I always have a drink on deck. But I really, really don't think writers are messy. I'm not messy. So for me, this is not true. For somebody else, it might be. I don't know. We can ask somebody else. If you're a writer out there and you're watching this video and here you are you messy or are you not messy? Let me know down in the comments below. Next assumption, writing is just a hobby because it's always fun. No, false. For me, that is false. Writing is not always fun. I love being an author. I love writing, but it's not always fun. It's a headache sometimes. Sometimes I'm just like, no, what did I get myself into? Why am I doing this? But other times I'm like, heck yes, this is so easy. I love it. It's fun, and I'm having the time of my life. I know a lot of people, and by no, I mean I've watched TikToks, which is going away supposedly. But anyways, I've seen TikToks of people say that they have a hard time with the editing process and it's very not fun for them. So for me, this is also reading back. Writing is just a hobby because it's always fun. Or writing is just a hobby because it's always fun. No, it's not a hobby. I don't treat it as a hobby. I treat it as a job. Sitting down to write this book was a 9 to 5 job. I need to make time out of my day. I need to clock in some hours. I need to do all the stuff I gotta do so this becomes a reality and it's not just a dream. So, with that being said, no, it's not. This is false. It's not just a hobby. It's a job. For me, it's a job. I have to treat it as such because that's the only way things are going to get done. But it's not always fun because there's just times where it gets hard. It really does. Editing can be difficult. I think I mentioned before. I did all the edits on Without a Choice myself. And it was hard. Very, very hard. And it was not fun. Did I enjoy the process of seeing my novel come together and become what it is? Yes, of course. But was it fun? At all times? No. Next assumption is writers base their characters on real people. My ears itchy. No, that's not true. I do not. There is not one character in Without a Choice that is based on a real person. I think authors base their stories on life experiences from the people around us, from the people we know, from stories we've heard, and we take that and we make it our own, if you will, our character's own story. But it's not that we take it; we're inspired by such events, and then you make a character and you give them the experiences that you were inspired by. But for me particularly, the answer is no. I do not base my characters on real people. I have had people read Without a Choice, and they have told me or asked me, "Hey, is Thomas based on X, Y, and Z? Hey, were you inspired by me for the character Tori?" And it's like, no, I wasn't. Like, it's not about you, type of thing. But with that being said, I think a lot of authors use themselves as a starter, if you will. There's quite a bit of characters in this novel, and I think about 80% of the characters in this novel, there's a little something about me in each one. So, as much as I don't base my characters on real people, like other than myself, and actually the answer is still no, because it's not like I write my characters out to be me. Again, I'm inspired by certain life events, experiences, things I've seen, things I've encountered. Perhaps I see, I don't know, I don't like to use forks, or I don't like to use spoons. I only eat with forks. So I'll have a character that only likes forks. That's as far as they'll go. So, based their characters on real people? No. The answer is no. I think that assumption is not correcto. Writers are generally depressed. For me, I think it's true. And I think a lot of creators to that extent. I don't think it's just writers. I think it's a lot of creators of different things, art, music. I think a lot of creative minds are depressed. And I actually have a little something that I've been working on for a few years now, and it's did I don't remember the exact title, but it's something along the lines of, did being creative make me depressed, or did depression make me creative, type of thing. That's something that I really, really ponder on, and I've talked to my therapist about, because, yeah, I don't know. I sometimes I think I'm creative because I have depression, and that depression, I needed something to cope, so I fell into writing and journaling. Well, writing down notes, not necessarily journaling like a professional journaler does, but also because I have this solitary passion of writing, and I don't really have a lot of people that I can talk to about my writing. Like, that in itself is depressing. So, yeah, I don't know. This is a whole topic for another video, which I am going to make because I love this topic, and I have done some research on it, and it's quite interesting and exciting. So, writers are generally depressed. I think this is true for me, and I think it's true for a lot of creative minds out there. Writers are broke and can't make money. Well, for me, as an author, I don't know how to answer that, because I'm a stay-at-home mom. So, am I broke? No. But my job is to be a stay-at-home mom. So, the copies that I have sold of my debut novel, I have made money. Am I rich? Can I live off of it? No. I basically just I'm cycling that money and putting it back into my next novel idea. But I can't answer that, because, again, I'm a stay-at-home mom. I think writers are broke and can't make money. I don't think this is true. I mean, there's a lot of famous authors who are well off. A lot of authors who have written a book, and it becomes a movie, a TV show, all that good stuff. So I think this is false. I think this can be a situational type of thing. Are there writers who are broke and can't make money? Yes. I used to be one of those, because I used to write, but I never shared my writing, so it didn't make me money. But now it does make me money, and I don't think I'm broke. So, I don't know. I think you can tell me what you think about that one. The last assumption that I have, and this one is a big one. Writers read a lot. I think this is false, because I cannot read and write at the same time. Well, not at the same time, but you know what I mean. I cannot read and write at the same time. I cannot be writing my novel and reading novels on the side. I just can't. My mind cannot handle that. And I know a lot of people who I have seen on TikTok say the same thing. If you're reading, you're not writing, and if you're writing, you're not reading. Is it ideal to read if you're a writer? Yes, because you learn and you observe, like, what you're reading, and you take it in, and you're dissecting it subconsciously, that once you start writing, it comes, like, for example, dialogue. You learn to show and not tell. You learn to bring your readers into your story and things like that. So, is it ideal to read if you're a writer? Yes, of course. It helps tremendously and it gives the writer an experience that you wouldn't even think about. Because you don't think about it. You're just in the experience, and it's not until you're writing that that experience becomes apparent. So for me personally, no, this is not true. Writers do not read a lot. I do not read a lot. I wish I would read more than I do, but I do try. So like right now, I'm trying to read more because I'm not really writing. Um, Especially with this vlog thing, I'm trying to learn how to compartmentalize whatever. I'm trying to have a schedule, if you will. So I write I write 3 days out of the week, I read 2 days out of the week, type of thing. Or I try to, okay, if I'm writing today, maybe I can read a little something before bed, type of situation. So I do try to incorporate the reading in my day-to-day life, but I don't think I read a lot. I think I can improve my reading, as a matter of fact. So there's that. Oh no, this video is 26 minutes long. Crazy. That is it for today. That was assumptions about authors. I want to know, do you have any assumptions about authors? And if you do, please drop them down in the comments below because I want to read and I want to interact with you all. So let me know what your assumptions about authors are. If you are an author, what are assumptions people have made about you? If you don't mind sharing that down in the comments below so we could interact and have a little book amigo community going. And with that being said, this is where today's video ends. I really, really, really wanted to do this video for quite some time, so I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you devoured it, and I hope you learned something from it or not. Learned something about me or not. Who knows? Point being, I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope you stick around. And in order to stick around, don't forget to hit the subscribe button somewhere and give this a thumbs up and leave a comment. And I will catch you in the next video. Toodles. Oh, and if you haven't yet, grab yourself a copy of Without a Choice. Okay.